Cheers! If you can hear the music, if you can hear it, man, I got some Popsicle Rebels High Plains Drifter playing as we speak. Decided to make myself an old fashioned using the Yellowstone bourbon since 1872. Yellowstone Select Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey at 93 proof. Limestone Branch Distillery, Lebanon, Kentucky. In 2010, the family and I founded Limestone Branch Distillery with the intention of crafting only the finest whiskey and the dream of restoring the Yellowstone brand to its former glory. In the spring of 2015, over a century after our great-grandfather, M.C. Beam, sold his distillery to Yellowstone, that dream came true. To celebrate this family reunion of sorts, we bring you Yellowstone Select Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. To the nose, it's leather with hints of citrus and oak. On the tongue, it's spicy rye with soft cherries, fading into smoked caramel. A memorable finish, rich with brown sugar and Kentucky tradition. Enjoy. Show you that bottle. Yeah, I was in the mood for an old-fashioned. I may try this as a Manhattan later, but anyway, I do have it served on the rock, if you will, a one large square cube. Without any further ado, 3 ounces of the whiskey, about 4 dashes of the Fee Brothers Black Walnut Bitters, and about an ounce of my homemade simple syrup that you all know I use raw sugar. I prefer not to use refined sugar. But because I'm using the raw sugar, it does have a little bit of a pigment to it. Oh, it's delicious. This is a good bourbon. I ought to have some neat, and I will, and I have. But yeah, I was in the mood to start the day. My first alcohol of the day. I thought, well, let's have an old-fashioned. It's kind of old-fashioned weather, right? You know. Still warm, humid, just, you know, it's one of those that I'd like to be sitting on the porch, but it's a little on the humid side, so I'm inside my inside pub, if you will. I crank some music. My wife happens to be outside watering, so it kind of worked out. Timing is everything. High Plains Drifter. Oh, great song. Oh, I have orange bitters, and I have regular Angostura, and for the longest time I used nothing but orange bitters in my old fashioned. But ever since I've purchased these black walnut bitters, I cannot get enough of them. I love the aromatics that it delivers. It was originally bought to make a maple old fashioned. Whoa, easy there, Shadow. Shadow. You know, Shadow, she likes to be on camera. I don't know if it's so much that. Shadow is rather jealous. So I think she thinks I'm talking to somebody else when I'm talking to the camera. She doesn't like me focusing on anybody but her. Said we weren't going to spend much money this weekend, so we haven't gone to the store, haven't done anything, kind of working through some stuff. And some of you may know already, I've said this in a few videos, I'm not buying any beer, well, for at least another month. My wife and I, our anniversary is the 24th of September, so I'm trying to save up, so I'm not buying anything new, not buying any new whiskey, any beer. I may buy a couple of bottles of wine, because we're trying to learn a little bit about wine, so... She's all of a sudden decided she likes to drink wine, so yeah, I'm kind of going with it. So I'm not buying anything new, so I'm working through some stuff here. Finishing up what beer I have in the beer fridge, working through what whiskey I've got in the cupboard. Right now I've got 3 open bottles. This one I've now just got just under half after that 3-ounce pour. My My rolling standard from Union Horse is about the same. Then I have some West Cork Irish. Um, that's not quite that far down yet, but I have one bottle of Blue Note, uncut, unfiltered Blue Note, uh, that I haven't opened yet. So it'll probably get opened next weekend. Not gonna open it this weekend. They do some Irish neat after a while. Every once in a while, I like that smooth sweetness that the Irish offers. And this is an 8-year-old single malt that I have from West Cork. I feel like I've said this as ad nauseum at this point, but for the longest time, I did not like the old fashioned. Right, I didn't like it at all because it was too sweet. Every time I tried to order one out, or even at a friend's house, it would just be too sweet. I couldn't drink it. So it was 2020 when I was furloughed for about 5-6 weeks, I guess it was. I decided I was going to make an old fashioned. I decided I was going to like an old fashioned. So I had the ingredients that I needed to make them, and I kept adjusting it until I got to where, hey, this is delicious. And for me, sometimes I do 2.5, sometimes here we're at 3 ounces. But yeah, sometimes I'll do anywhere between a half to a full ounce of simple syrup. But I've seen a lot of recipes that are, 2 ounces of liquor, ounce and a half of simple syrup. I'm thinking, damn, that's a sweet ass drink, man. And a lot of it was tinkering with the bitters too. Some of them only say put a dash or 2 in. I found I like a little more. I will usually do about 4 or 5 dashes of bitters. I do that a lot though, with food as well. When I get something I don't like, I tinker with it until I just make myself, you're going to like this. I keep tinkering with that dish until I have a version that I like. And that's kind of what I did with it old fashioned here. I've always been a fan of the Manhattan. I've loved the Manhattan for decades. But it's taken me a while to warm up to the old fashioned. Again, it's always been just too sweet for me. So, but yeah, well, I've kind of tinkered with it, and a lot of it is for me. It's everything is seasonal, right? Beer is seasonal, but cocktails for me are seasonal as well. For me, the spring, summer, yeah, the old fashioned is perfect, along with the whiskey. The whiskey sour for me is the perfect summer cocktail. But then you get into fall and winter, and the old fashioned still sort of works, but for me, the more comforting cocktail is the Manhattan as you go get into those fall winter months. And again, I like to tinker with that as well. I mean, you use sweet vermouth, but I've done versions of a Manhattan where I've taken out that sweet vermouth and added something else. I do a version where I add some Cafe Amaro from J. Riggers, and that makes them beautiful. Maybe it's not a true Manhattan, I get it, but it's a Manhattan-inspired cocktail. Mooney's, made here locally, does a chocolate cherry whiskey at 80 proof, and I've removed the sweetness from the sweet. I taken out the sweet vermouth and use that in place. So again, I've got typically a 90 to 100 proof whiskey, adding the 80 proof whiskey, but that chocolate cherry really makes it a beautiful winter cocktail. Maybe it's not a true Manhattan, but again, it's Manhattan inspired. And then adding those chocolate cherry notes to everything else the Manhattan offers really makes a beautiful cocktail. I guess the point I'm trying to make to you folks is that cocktails were not handed down. Cocktail recipes were not handed down from God to Moses on stone tablets. A lot of folks think that you have to make something exactly a certain way. And the truth is you do not. It is your cocktail. Don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with some ideas. Not everything is going to work, but every once in a while you're going to stumble across a gem. I've done a version of a Manhattan. Again, you taken out the the sweet vermouth and using some Laird's Applejack in place, and that was beautiful as well. I mean, it was a high octane drink, mind you. But yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, it's one of those late in the evening fireplace kind of cocktails because it is very satisfying. You got the fire on, you're just relaxing. It's that kind of cocktail. The flavors, the aromas that the Yellowstone offers lends itself well to a lot of applications. Obviously, probably the preferred application is to drink it neat. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is fine to drink it on the rocks if you so desire. I would personally either use a large cube or a globe mold. I wouldn't use a lot of those funky shaped, refrigerator, kind of half moon kind of things. I wouldn't use like 6 or 8 of those because you're going to get way too much water. But if you've got a nice globe mold or a big square cube, I think it's fine. But again, because of the flavors and aromas that it has, it does lend itself well to an old fashioned, even to a Manhattan, because it is a traditional bourbon. Ooh, my wife just brought in some stuff from the garden. Let me show you. What peppers are these, Sugar Love?
Candy cane.
So they're the sweet peppers. Look how gorgeous that is. What's this? A jalapeno?
No, that's another candy cane.
Oh, it's another candy cane. Okay, this is a little smaller. Here's a couple beautiful. Look at the stripes on these babies. That's how you know you got a great jalapeno. And in all honesty, I'm going to probably wait a couple of days on these because they will gradually turn red on me, and I love them when they turn red. Now, some say they get hotter when they turn red. I'm not disputing that, but they also get sweeter. They may get hotter, but they also get sweeter.
That's the salsarific.
Oh, let me see. It was good. Salsarific.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost like the peppers you see on Ristras in New Mexico, yeah. And then what was that one? Is that a Serrano?
That's a sport. No,
Oh, it's a sport. Look like this is a sport pepper, and I've never seen a red sport pepper because I've only seen them in the jars, pickled. But because honestly, I thought this was a Serrano because it looks a lot like a Serrano. So I'm curious of the heat on this one. I've been using my wife grew some sport peppers, so I've been using raw sport peppers on my hot dogs instead of pickled. But
and that's a gypsy.
And a gypsy here. And what about this orange one, baby?
That's another gypsy.
Another gypsy? Okay. See, look at these peppers. They will gradually turn colors on you. And this is the fish hook? Sugar fish, or what do they call these? Sugar fish hook. So she bought this plant back in May because I told her it was a sweet pepper. It is not. It's not. It's not quite jalapeno spicy, but it's got a little bite. Is there a what? There's a little cherry tomato. Where's the one? Oh yeah, these are the ones that look like Scotch bonnets, right?
Yeah.
So oh my gosh, these are gorgeous. So they do have some heat. It's not a Scotch bonnet. You call it a Caribbean?
It's a Caribbean. Yeah.
So she looked it up, and the Scoville units aren't quite as high as, say, a habanero or a Scotch bonnet. I will tell you, but she got some bite. She got some bite. I won't tell you how I learned that. Anyway, that's a story I can't tell. Anyway, that's a story I can't tell, man. Anyway, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. Cheers, guys.